Well, hello out there, folks. How are you doing? There is so much going on this week. I hope I can get to all of this. Of course, we had Obama veto the Keystone XL pipeline. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. We have a Republican cave to Democrats. At least that's what it looks like on the surface. We'll talk about that. The Islamic State is still on a rampage over in the Middle East. They have kidnapped something like over 200 Christians now, and they're burning churches in Syria, and we'll talk about that. Some more Lois Lerner emails have resurfaced. We'll talk about that. And Eric Holder, while on his way out from being Attorney General, he's got some advice for Americans. I wonder what that could be. George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin. There's some news in that case that came out this past week. We have a guilty verdict in the Chris Kyle murder trial. Jihadi John has been identified. We'll talk about that. And of course, Obama had his big town hall meeting about his illegal executive amnesty. We'll talk about hopefully all of these things. We'll see how much we can get to on this, The Ray Warner Show. I am your host, Ray Warner. Thank you so much for listening in today. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, or if you just need to rant or vent as much as I do, feel free. The email address is theraywarnershow@gmail.com. Now, as you know, if you have listened to me regularly, I always talk about how Obama, he has been on a slow and steady course of destruction to America, but it seems that lately he's been picking up speed. I mean, he has hit the gas, folks. I told you these last 2 years are going to be a whirlwind of Obama just finishing this country off once and for all, and it appears there is no one willing to stop him. So he's hit the gas. What happened after Jimmy Carter? We had Ronald Reagan come in and start to heal the country. Now, keep in mind that Carter was just incompetent. He was doing what he thought was best, but he was just wrong. Obama literally hates this country. Obama is literally trying to destroy it. He is actively trying to destroy it. His goal is to weaken it. It has to be. I mean, you look at the things he's done in his 6 years in office, you look at the decisions he's made, it just has to be. There is no other conclusion to come to. And now he only has 2 short years left to finish doing as much permanent damage as possible and make sure that not even a Ronald Reagan could fix it. He only has 2 years, and of course that's if he just doesn't cancel the next election. And don't forget, Obama hears non-voters. He hears people who aren't speaking. We know that. Now, as my audience knows, a Texas judge put a hold on Obama's illegal executive amnesty. Well, Obama was holding his town hall down there in Florida. The audience obviously stacked with Hispanics and other liberals and supporters of Obama. Well, he was asked about the Texas judge putting the hold on his policies. Here's what he had to say.
This is just one federal judge. We have appealed it very aggressively. We're going to be as aggressive as we can because not only do we know that the law is on our side, but history is also on our side.
The law is on your side, Mr. President? Are you serious? You're creating an executive order designed to compensate for the fact that people are breaking the law and you don't want to prosecute. The law is on your side for doing this? What you're doing is illegal. Never mind what the illegals are doing. What you're doing is illegal. But the law is on your side. History is on your side. This is history. This is all down through history. Countries have always just had open borders and just let in whoever. It seems to me they build walls. What was the Great Wall in China all about? What was the walls of Jericho about? People build walls around their cities, around their communities, to keep out intruders. History is not on your side, Mr. President. But as far as the question of whether what he's doing is legal or not, does he really care? Listen to what he said about Congress coming down on the president for acting illegally.
If Mr. McConnell, the leader of the Senate, and the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, want to have a vote on whether what I'm doing is legal or not, they can have that vote. I will veto that vote.
So he just doesn't care if it's illegal. Doesn't care. If Congress finds that what he's doing is illegal, he'll just veto it. So, in the end, what is illegal? What's illegal to a man who can just veto illegality? He can just veto it. He's doing something illegal, and he just said, if Congress votes to find what I'm doing illegal, I'll just veto it. So what's illegal in the end? Honestly, what is illegal to this man? Everything that he's doing as far as this illegal executive amnesty, he's doing under the guise of prosecutorial discretion. Prosecutorial discretion. He's trying to say that this is what he's doing. He is prioritizing how he is going to prosecute the illegal aliens in this country. This is how he defines prosecutorial discretion.
The theory of prosecutorial discretion is that you have limited resources, and because of that, you can't apply the law of enforcement to everybody.
Now, that is a very odd definition of prosecutorial discretion. It's usually not applied this way. In fact, I don't know if it has ever been applied this way. Prosecutorial discretion, I seem to remember watching a show where some guy had broken out of prison a lot, and he committed crime while in prison, and when they went to tell him what the charges were, he said to his lawyer to tell them he doesn't understand the charges. Now, the lawyer went back and said he doesn't understand the charges, so what they did is they dropped the charges. See, this guy he knew how to play the system, and he was saying that I don't understand the charges, which would mean he would get some kind of psychiatric evaluation, which would mean he would be brought out of the prison and placed into some kind of lower security, either section of the prison or hospital or something, where he would try to escape again. They were thinking that was his goal. That was his reasoning for saying he doesn't understand the charges. So they just decided to drop the charges. He was already serving life in prison. It really didn't matter if he was charged anymore or convicted of any more crime. That's prosecutorial discretion. Prosecutorial discretion is also if a prosecutor wants to make a deal with you. You know, you commit a crime, and maybe you'll snitch on your friend, or you can provide some kind of testimony in some other case, and they'll go easy on you. Prosecutors have discretion as to how they prosecute people. What Obama is doing is applying this somehow like a blanket across the entire country. Prosecutorial discretion everywhere, nationwide. You I'll prosecute, you I will not. If an illegal alien is a repeat offender, that person he'll deport, but the families he will not. Prosecutorial discretion has never been applied this way, to my knowledge, but this is what he's saying he's doing. It's a very odd definition of prosecutorial discretion. But what he is going to prosecute, if you want to use that word, he was asked the question, well, what about the ICE agents or the Border Patrol agents that are not on board, that are going to continue to deport anyway? This is what he said about those people.
The bottom line is that if somebody's working for ICE and there is a policy and they don't follow the policy, there are going to be consequences to it. So I can't speak to a specific problem. What I can talk about is what's true in the government generally. In the U.S. military, when you get an order, you're expected to follow it. Doesn't mean that everybody follows the order. If they don't, they've got a problem. And the same is going to be true with respect to the policies that we're putting forward.
So there will be consequences. They will have to answer. There will be consequences to people who violate policy instituted by Barack Obama as far as deporting illegal aliens. Those people, our Border Patrol agents, our ICE agents, those people are going to face consequences. Not the people breaking the law. Not the people breaking the law to come in the country. The people that are trying to help the nation. The people that are trying to deport these illegal aliens. Those people are going to face consequences. So there's some strange prosecutorial discretion for you. And then, of course, the president was asked by another person in the audience, "What about my mom? I'm fighting my own little war here, trying to keep my mom in this country. What can I tell my mom? What have you got to say to my mom, Mr. President?"
I'm confident that your mother qualifies under the executive action program that I've put forward. Right now, the judge has blocked us initiating the program where she can come and sign up and get registered. But in the meantime, part of the message that I'm sending is, if you qualified for the executive action that I put forward, then we're still going to make sure that your mom is not prioritized in terms of enforcement. And she should feel confident about that.
Now, did you catch all that? Because if you didn't, see, I've got my Obama to English dictionary right here. What he said was, I don't care what the law is. I don't care what the judge said. I'm going to do what I want anyway. Yeah, the judge has issued this injunction. He has put a hold on the executive order that we're trying to implement, even though it's illegal. He's put a hold on it and stopped us from doing it, but tell your mom to be confident that we're going to do it anyway. That's pretty much what he said, right? You think Obama cares about the judge's injunction? Do you think he even cares if he loses the case altogether? He does not care one iota. He's going to do it anyway. He doesn't care about the Constitution. What makes you think he cares about what, in his mind, some two-bit judge has to say? He could care less. He's a lawless president. If you tell him what he's doing is illegal, he's just going to ignore you or veto any decision by Congress to say that what he's doing is illegal. And that's that. And what did he say? Sue me, right? Hey, sue me. So some more Lois Lerner emails have been recovered. Did you hear about this? In one of the emails that they found, Lois Lerner emails one of her, subordinates or somebody she works with, and says in the email, "No one will believe both of our hard drives crashed within a week of each other." Now, if that's not incriminating, I don't know what is. This is obviously after the cover-up began. The story was going to be that some hard drives crashed and the emails were just irretrievable. But they found some a while back, and now they found some more. They just keep finding more of these emails. And, of course, the people that work over at IT for the IRS, they were asked, how come you didn't produce these earlier? And they said, well, we weren't asked for them. Well, if that doesn't confirm what we already knew, no one in this administration was ever going to try to cooperate with this investigation. They were just going to sit there and say the emails were lost. It all started with Lois Lerner herself. She went in there and sat there very smug and just looked out and said, "You know what? I'm not going to talk to you today. I'm not answering any of your questions. I'm pleading the fifth. Goodbye." That was how she started this whole process. And then they put Koskinen up there. He was just as smug, if you ask me, talking about we're going to be at this for years. The hard drives are gone. They've been destroyed. The emails are gone. And everybody knows that nothing is ever gone off the internet. Nothing is ever gone when it comes to computers. The emails are, of course, going to be retrievable, and they have been retrieved. Most of them anyway. I bet you there's even more going to come out. But we'll have to see and keep you up to date on that. Now, if you haven't heard, the Senate has caved to Harry Reid's demands. They have passed what they call a clean DHS funding bill. I guess if the bill had the amendments in it that would keep Obama from doing his illegal executive amnesty, that would be a dirty DHS funding bill. But anyway, the Senate did pass a clean bill. Mitch McConnell, it was reported earlier this week, had said he was going to cave on this, and that still wasn't good enough for Harry Reid. He wanted assurances from Boehner that the House was also going to cave. Now, I heard it explained this week that this actually wasn't a cave by Mitch McConnell. What this is some kind of strategy. See, if they allow the Senate to pass this bill, and then it goes to the House can put their amendments back on it, and then when it goes back to the Senate, then all they'll need is a majority, 51 votes, in order to pass it with the House provisions on it. And Harry Reid must have known this. This is why he wanted Boehner's assurances. I don't know if he got what he wanted. Does this mean Boehner caved also? Because Harry Reid was making this demand. Democrats have been filibustering this whole thing for weeks, and it finally went through. The Senate voted on it and passed it, so that must mean that either Boehner caved or Harry Reid caved. My money's on Boehner caving. I guess we'll see. As up until the time of this recording, they still had not resolved the issue, and the DHS funding was scheduled to run out. So we'll see what happens here in the upcoming days. It just makes you wonder, are Republicans trying to do this? Are they trying to pull some kind of fast one on Democrats as far as getting the bill that they want out of the House and be able to pass it in the Senate? I guess we'll see. They normally don't do this stuff. This is like a Democrat kind of thing, but I guess we'll see what that was all about. Jihadi John is back in the news. Remember him? He was the Bond villain, Obama's arch nemesis, the guy who pointed his knife in the camera saying that they were coming after Obama and saying that they were beheading these journalists because of Obama's actions. He has finally been identified. He is Abdel Majed Abdel Bari, he goes by the name of Mohammed Emwazi. And this should come as no surprise to some of us, but it's going to be a complete surprise to some people in the State Department, I'm sure. But Jihadi John, or Mohammed Emwazi, whatever you want to call him, he came from a well-to-do family. They were a wealthy family in London. This guy was educated. He had a degree in computer programming. So what does that do to Marie Harf's little theory? I guess it kind of blows that out of the water. This woman was saying that all we need to do is give these people jobs, bring these people opportunity, and they're going to go start businesses instead of pick up AK-47s. Remember that? Yeah, well, we find out that this guy actually came from a wealthy family. This guy has a degree in computer programming. This guy isn't destitute. This guy isn't picking up an AK-47 rather than start a business for any other reason other than the Quran tells him to do so. When are these people going to wake up and smell the coffee? We'll be back. Stay right there.
"21 Signs of Doomsday. God said, man said.com. Noah's Ark, fact or fiction? Geologists say yes to crucifixion. Science says eat butter. God said, man said.com. Scientists study speaking in tongues. Hours of text and audio. God said, man said.com. Doctors flummoxed by what they found in female brains. St. Peter's fish, hellworms, extraterrestrials amongst us. God said, man said.com.
You have reached the Bovine Chicken Chat Line, where you can chat with tons and tons of cows about chicken. All our cows are busy. While you're waiting, why not get to know some of these fuzzy fans of chicken? Heifer 9672 is a 1,200-pounder from Kentucky who likes long walks in the pasture, watching cars go by from the pasture, and eating the pasture. She's also an aspiring author, writing a book called The Burgers of Wrath. Bull 5441 is a bull from Chicago with a pierced nose and a nasty temper. But he loves people who eat chicken and the good folks at Chick-fil-A who make the chicken. Bull 5441's pet peeves are cow tipping and the color red, especially when it's meat. All our cows are still busy. Please try calling the Bovine Chicken Chat Line later. The cows thank you for calling and for not eating burgers. This call made possible by Chick-fil-A.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Ray Warner Show. I am your host, Ray Warner. If you want to email the show, if you have any questions, any comments, or any feedback, feel free. The email address is theraywarnershow@gmail.com. So as you know, Eric Holder is out. Loretta Lynch is going to be installed as the new Attorney General. And the administration threw together a little outgoing ceremony for Eric Holder. What I thought was really interesting, this was on the Politico. Try this headline: Holder calls for lower bar in civil rights cases. Yeah, I guess he doesn't like the fact that he can't seem to get a civil rights case against anybody. They tried to get a civil rights case against Darren Wilson, the officer in Ferguson who shot Michael Brown. Couldn't do that. Tried for 3 years now to get a civil rights case against George Zimmerman. Couldn't do that. That came out this week, that he's been cleared of any civil rights charges. In exit interview with Playbook, he reveals a push for easier prosecution in cases like Ferguson or Trayvon. And he also says everyone should read Malcolm X. He was interviewed by Mike Allen when all this came out. Now, I thought this was really interesting for a number of reasons. See, we learned this week that there will be no civil rights charges against George Zimmerman in the death of Trayvon Martin. This, of course, being the 3-year anniversary, or was earlier this week, the 3-year anniversary of Trayvon Martin's death. Now, did you hear during a speech at Cornell University, Melissa Harris Perry? If you watch MSNBC, I don't. But this was Melissa Harris-Perry said this.
I hope he tried to stay alive. I hope he knew that he lived in a state with a stand your ground law, and I hope he whooped the out of George Zimmerman.
So Melissa Harris-Perry hopes that Martin beat the blank out of Zimmerman. I've got news for you, Miss Melissa Harris-Perry. Martin did beat the blank out of Zimmerman. He had bloody knuckles. That's how much he beat the crap out of George Zimmerman. He took his head and was pounding it into the sidewalk. George Zimmerman had cuts and blood on the front, on his face, and on the back of his head. And the only thing injured on Trayvon Martin was his knuckles. Well, of course, and the bullet wound. But what I also thought was interesting is Eric Holder's choice of reading material for all of Americans. This is what he said about it.
I would hope that, and I say this not to every African American of his age, but for every American, that you read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
So he wants us all to read Malcolm X. I thought this was very telling, because Eric Holder is a lot like Barack Obama. See, Eric Holder, if he had a choice to try to steer someone into the writings of Martin Luther King or of Malcolm X, he'll choose Malcolm X. Malcolm X was violent. Martin Luther King did everything through peaceful protests. Obama is the same way. Obama looks at Christians and Muslims and he sides with the radical Muslims. He looks at radical Muslims versus moderate Muslims, like El-Sisi over in Egypt calling for Islam to be reformed, and he sides with the violent Muslims. He is against El-Sisi. He's against Israel. As far as the case goes in Ferguson of the officer Darren Wilson shooting Michael Brown, he sent 3 representatives from the administration to the funeral of Michael Brown. He's on the wrong side of every issue. And I think it's very fitting that Eric Holder would be on the wrong side of this issue as well. He's on the Malcolm X side of the equality movement. And since Zimmerman has been cleared of any charges, and of course it's the 3-year anniversary of the Trayvon Martin shooting, we had an article from the Daily News. Here's another headline for you. Trayvon Martin 3 years later. Pain, anger, and sadness still haunt family and friends as they pray for the truth. People called him Mouse because he was so quiet that you hardly noticed he was there. You know the kid, right? The one who was always giggling at the neighborhood swimming pool, where the park director used to playfully chase him around and then call him her baby while helping him do his homework. His name is Trayvon Martin. You remember him, don't you? The 17-year-old who 3 years ago had been visiting the home of his father's girlfriend on a rainy Sunday night and had gone out to a local convenience store to get Skittles and iced tea. You know, the one who ended up shot dead because a neighborhood watch captain who refused to listen to a 911 dispatcher's order to stand down decided he was a burglar because he was wearing a hoodie, because they always get away with it because he was black. I mean, is this not ridiculous or what? This is so far from the truth, it's not even funny. This guy fails to mention that Trayvon Martin several times had been kicked out of school because he had stolen property in his possession. This guy fails to mention that the stolen property in his possession matched property stolen in the break-ins that caused George Zimmerman to take part in his neighborhood watch program. There was a series of break-ins in the area. That's why he wanted to be involved in the program. I wonder where Trayvon Martin got those stolen goods. There was stolen goods on his possession when he was shot. And why did Trayvon Martin not just go back to wherever it is he came from? Why didn't he go back to his dad's girlfriend's house? If that's where he was headed, why didn't he get there? Why did he instead turn back and attack George Zimmerman? That was his fatal mistake. Being a thug was his fatal mistake. Just like being a thug was Michael Brown's fatal mistake. I don't care who was black, who was white. I don't care who the white Hispanic was. We learned what it means to be white Hispanic when George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. But the way these people, I don't understand. I don't understand how intelligent people can see the same set of facts and get this wrong. Here's another part of the article. He was the one who was a jokester, a prankster. He's the one who was interested in aviation and dreamed of becoming a pilot someday. And he's the one who was going to college, that's for sure, says his mother. There's no doubt in her mind. Florida A&M was going to be the school, says Fleming. They talked about going together. I'm his grandmother, says Marion Spotford Evans in a soft voice. She shakes her head. It's still all so hard to believe. I just hope and pray the truth comes out one day. She says the truth came out, Mrs. Marion. The truth came out. This guy turned back. George Zimmerman was going to leave him alone, but this guy went back anyway. And he attacked George Zimmerman. Why? Why did he do that? That's the question you need to ask yourself, Miss Marion. You know, I just don't understand what is so difficult about the whole Trayvon Martin case. I don't understand what's difficult about the whole Michael Brown case. I don't understand what's difficult about the case of the guy up in New York. I forget his name right now. I don't understand how intelligent people can look at the facts of all of these cases and come up with anything other than these were police doing their job, or in the case of George Zimmerman, he was defending his life. Trayvon Martin, the whole ground and pound thing, he was pummeling George Zimmerman, pummeling him. And he fired one shot. Zimmerman fired one shot. That's it. That's actually pretty responsible use of a handgun. He fired one shot, and to get him off of him, and it happened to be a fatal shot. I don't understand what's so hard about the Michael Brown case. You had a guy just rob a convenience store. He's on his way home. You have a police officer tells him, get out of the street. Don't walk in the street. Walk on the sidewalk. This guy decides he's going to attack a cop and try to grab his gun. How is anybody on the wrong side of this issue? I don't understand it. I do not understand it. And now last week, since we were talking about race, I told you about the former New York City mayor, Rudy Giuliani, talking about how Obama doesn't love America. And I also brought you some reaction to that. Well, we had some more reaction to it more recently.
How did you grow up, Giuliani? A privileged cracker? Or I should say, a privileged devil.
That was Louis Farrakhan. That was his rebuttal to what Rudy Giuliani had to say. What did I tell you? When you get close to the truth, liberals just get angry. They get angry, and they get mad. They start calling people names. It's all they have. It's all they could do. As soon as you start getting close to the truth, if you're talking to a liberal and you start getting close to the truth, name calling will ensue. That's all they know how to do. It's all they've got. So does Obama love America? This was from Breitbart. There was a poll. Only 47% think Obama loves America. Rudy Giuliani is far from alone in his criticism of President Obama. A new poll shows that a substantial number of Americans doubt President Barack Obama loves the United States. According to YouGov, fewer than half, 47%, say that the president loves America. However, 1/3 35% say the president does not. Democrats are less likely than Republicans to say Obama doesn't love America. YouGov reports that 85% of Democrats say Obama loves America, while 69% of Republicans say he does not. But even independents are split. Some 42% say he loves the U.S., but close to the same number, 38%, say he does not. The poll also asked respondents whether they love the country. For Americans over the age of 45, upward of 90% expressed love for the U.S., and virtually none reported that they do not love America. However, younger Americans are less certain. Only 71% of under 30s also say that they love America. 15% of under 30s say that they do not love America, while 14% aren't sure, YouGov reports. Overall, 90% of conservatives report loving America, while 85% of moderates and 82% of liberals say the same. YouGov commissioned the poll after former New York Mayor Giuliani said, "I do not believe that the president loves America." And as I've said before, I don't know how you can look at what this man has done up until now and arrive at any other conclusion. I don't know how you could look at how Obama has handled the economy, what he's done with Obamacare, what he's doing on the border with his illegal executive amnesty, what's the way he's fighting the Islamic State, the way he sticks his thumb in the eye of our allies like Israel. I don't know how you could come up with any other conclusion than this man hates America and wants to destroy it. He is actively trying to destroy it. We'll be back, folks. Stay right there.
You are listening to The Ray Warner Show.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
A creative experience unlike any other is waiting for you at Hobby Lobby. Arts and crafts, fabric, scrapbooking, floral, home accents, and so much more. Come and explore Hobby Lobby and find more than you could have ever imagined. Inspiration, innovation, and creation all in one place. Everything you need to bring your creativity to life is here at Hobby Lobby.
I came home last night and my door was smashed open. It's like they knew right where to go. Like they'd been in my house before. They got my cameras, the silver, the coins. My husband's beautiful old shotgun. They took my jewelry. I can't believe it. It's all gone.
Each year, more than 4 million homes are burglarized in the U.S. Keep your valuables safe and secure with a safe that gives you an extra margin of protection. A Liberty safe is built tough and offers the most technologically advanced security features available. Plus, Liberty safes are independently certified for residential security, and they're built right here in the U.S. Don't take a chance when it comes to your home security. Purchase a Liberty safe for the things you value most.
Some things can be replaced. Some just can't.
To learn more, go to libertysafe.com.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Ray Warner Show. I am your host, Ray Warner. If you want to email the show, if you have any comments, questions, or feedback, feel free. The email address is theraywarnershow@gmail.com. So, President Obama made good on his threat to veto the Keystone XL pipeline. Now, as far as I'm concerned, what that is essentially doing is vetoing a jobs bill. The president vetoed a jobs bill. The president, with his pen, vetoed a bill that would have created thousands of jobs. Essentially and it's just in the construction of the pipeline alone, and then in maintenance, and then, of course, refining oil from Canada. Just killed it. Of course, Obama cites environmental concerns as the reason why he is vetoing this. So as long as we're talking about that, this is a story from the New York Times about a fellow named Wee Hock Soon. The New York Times trying to discredit him. Listen to the headline: Deeper Ties to Corporate Cash for Doubtful Climate Researcher. See, so you already see what's going on, right? They're setting this guy up, talking about how, he's just, he's doubting the climate for cash. See, Weehawk Soon is a scientist. This guy is a scientist, and he is one that speaks out against global warming. The article says, for years, politicians wanting to block legislation on climate change have bolstered their arguments by pointing to the work of a handful of scientists who claim that greenhouse gases pose little risk to humanity. One of the names they invoke most often is Weehawk Soon, known as Willie, a scientist at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics who claims that variations in the sun's energy can largely explain recent global warming. He has often appeared on conservative news programs, testified before Congress and in state capitals, and starred at conferences of people who deny the risks of global warming. But newly released documents show the extent to which Dr. Soon's work has been tied to funding he received from corporate interests. Oh, so they found documents tying this guy's funding to corporate interests. So that's it. That's supposed to negate all of this guy's research. Well, where's the funding come from for the global warming nut jobs? Where's that funding come from? Doesn't that just come from the federal government most of the time? Or groups funded by George Soros or any other left-wing lunatic groups that want to spread this nonsense? Because this guy gets funding from corporate interests, he's not a legitimate scientist, see? When the truth is, it all boils down to this. This guy, Weehawk Soon, is a scientist that doesn't have his tinfoil hat cinched on so tight that blood can't get to his brain, like some of these other clowns. In fact, he's taken his brain for a test drive, and he's decided he likes it. He says solar cycles in the sun, cause warming and cooling trends in the entire solar system, of which, of course, the Earth is a part. Doesn't that just make too much sense? See, with liberals, it's all about control. They want to tell you where to put your thermostat and what kind of car you can drive. They want to raise your taxes for their ridiculous liberal causes, and has nothing to do with science and everything to do with control. And I can't stress enough. You've heard me say many times before, we have the emails. We have the emails that they have sent to one another about how to best cover up the fact that it's all a big lie. We have the emails. Whenever you hear some kook talking about global warming, just point and laugh. These people do not deserve the time of day. And that's it for this week, folks. Thank you for listening in again today. Don't forget, if you want to email me, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, any problems with anything I've said, feel free. The email address is theraywarnershow@gmail.com. And don't forget, I don't know how you listen to The Ray Warner Show and The Ray Warner Quick Reports, but there are many ways you can listen. If you go to theraywarnershow.com, you can subscribe, and you'll get a link in your email. You can also subscribe at The Ray Warner Show YouTube channel. Every show is posted on Facebook and on Twitter. You can go to iTunes and get the show. And I just want to say, check out the new opinion page. I'm going to start posting articles from people that contribute to The Ray Warner Show. So make sure you check that out. And however you listen, I am so thankful that you do. And we'll see you next week. So long.